Hello. This is a bit different, isn't it? I thought I might spend a couple of hours today just doing whatevs. Just whatever comes to mind. And I thought we could start off by playing a little bit of Kerbal Space Program. I can talk to you about various things going on at the moment. Where's VSync? There's VSync. Make sure VSync is on. So, where have we got to? I haven't played this game in a while. I bought this game years ago, like a good 3 or 4 years ago. I think it was what was the version number? 0.7, I think, was when I bought this game, when it was still, pre 1.0. I think they had just patched in multiple flights at a time. So for the first time ever, rendezvous was possible. You couldn't dock yet, but I distinctly remember when I first downloaded this game for the first time, they were like, oh shit, you can get 2 ships in orbit and have them move around each other in close proximity. Thinking that was cool. I have not played this for almost 2 years, seriously, you know what I mean? It's just sat down and played a career. And holy shit, they have added a ton of stuff to this game in the last year and a bit or so, to the point where it's kind of overwhelming me again. I used to play this game tons. In fact, the reason I stopped playing it was because I got bored with it, because I'd become so familiar with it. I'd done pretty much all the hard shit, It's get to Jewel, get to Elu, land on Jewel and Elu, and then return. That's the two hard. You don't land on Jewel. Jewel, you can't land on it. It's a gas giant. But get to the 2 farthest planets and then get back. That's generally considered the hardest things to do in this game, and I did them, and I was like, okay, I'm kind of done with this. And they've added tons of stuff. They've added custom missions, mission editors, tons more items. There are expansion packs now. There's a Making History expansion pack, which is cool. There's a lot more to this now. Of course, I've got some mods installed. I've got oh, what's it fucking called? Hang on. Let's load up a thing. Something Engineer. Kerbal Engineer. It basically lets you see the thrust-to-weight ratio of the rocket, which is incredibly important if you actually want to achieve anything. Yeah, Kerbal Engineer. So it lets you, while in building mode and in flight mode, if you have the appropriate attachment, see your rocket's data. God damn it, not now. Which is, I think, I'm still shocked they have not put into the game. Legitimately, you still have to download a mod in order to see incredibly important data, such as your fucking thrust to weight ratio. Come the fuck on. Let's see, what am I doing right now? Current missions. Docking. Plant a flag on the moon. It's spelt mun, but it's actually pronounced moon, because even though it's not displayed here, officially this word should have an umlaut above the U. That makes it pronounced as moon. So, all those people calling it mun, you're wrong. What's the other one? Build a satellite and put it in a specific position. Okay. A new probe, designated orbit, mystery goo, have a materials bay. Okay, that's doable. Let's do that now, shall we? And then while I'm doing that, we can talk about some stuff. So, my current series, the post Dreamcast ports videos that I've been doing the last couple of months, interspersed with a few episodes of an Oblivion playthrough, that seems to have crawled to a halt lately. That is still happening. I have all the games I want for that stuff. They're actually down here. I've got 2 more GameCube games, 3 Wii games, and 5... Is it? Yeah, 5 late arriving PS2 games. Potentially a 6th one coming, so we're looking at least 4 more post Dreamcast ports videos in the future. The reason they're paused at the moment is because I am awaiting certain peripherals through the post, because I found out some of these games that I want to show are far more entertaining to show off with dumbass peripherals. Some of them completely unnecessary, some of them entirely necessary in order to get the best experience out of those games. I'll leave you to try and guess what games I'm talking about and what peripherals I mean. I will, of course, let you know in their respective videos, but for now there's a nice little guessing game for you. What could I possibly mean? What peripherals could I mean? Both dumb and pointless and entirely necessary. What an enigma. I'm sure some of you already know exactly what I'm talking about. It's like, oh, he means this fucking thing for this specific game. Or he's talking about that dumb piece of shit that is an optional thing for that game, but is completely pointless. Yeah, you're most likely right. You're most likely correct. But you will not find out until the videos come out. That'll do, I think. Yeah, that'll do. What have I got? I've got the materials bay, goo containment unit. Yep, good. Everything's good. Everything's right. 2. Oh, fuck's sake. Let's launch this bastard. This incredibly ugly looking satellite. This game does contain fairings, but I have not yet... Whoa. I have not yet unlocked the fairings yet, so... The payload section of my rocket is quite ugly. Yeah, good. Also another perk of Kerbal Engineer. It gives you the information you need to make listen, I understand this type of game, trial and error is part of it. There's going to be a lot of trial and error, but at a certain point it just becomes unfair to the player by not surfacing specific information. Specific information being, I don't know, your thrust to weight ratio, which is the most important thing. If there's one thing I want them to add to vanilla Kerbal, it's just let us see our thrust to weight ratio. Squad, are you listening? Probably not. But that is the number one thing. That's all I want. You can leave the game as it is. Just add a thrust to weight ratio. Even if it's only in the shipbuilding screen, you know, even if it's only in the VAB, that's all I want. Anyway, let's launch. It's the one thing I've been calling for years. It's the one thing. They've incorporated tons of other mods into the main game, like a docking alignment indicator. Certain specific pieces of rocket ship equipment which started life in a mods has been put into the game. You know, it's a thing that happens. Squad has been known to incorporate things from mods into the main game. It just baffles me why they still haven't put in the most basic thing, which I'm sure everyone who knows even the slightest thing about rocket design would think would be an extremely sensible addition. But alas. Oh, we're going sideways now. Anyway, so here's another potential question people might be wondering. Any more dedicated Sega videos coming up? So stuff like Mega Drive. I used to do a lot of like Mega Drive, Mega CD, some Sega Saturn stuff in the past, and yes, that's always a on the cards. I've recently purchased a hasn't arrived yet, but an audio breakout SCART pass through, because while my Super Nintendo and Mega Drive SCART plugs have phono breakouts cables letting me get clean audio, because my SCART adapter doesn't support audio, it's video only, so I have to have a breakout cable if you want audio that uses a SCART cable. I have to have breakout if you want audio from a system that I'm using a SCART cable for. My Saturn RGB SCART cables do not have audio breakouts, which is a shame. But that is being solved. Because before, the only way I could get audio from them for the PC was to either use footage from S-Video connection, from S-Video cable, or a composite cable, or plug the SCART into that FrameMeister I have. And I don't like using the FrameMeister. The FrameMeister seems overly complicated in a way that's really disappointing. I'm actually very disappointed with the FrameMeister, in both its complexity and its actual, like, the quality of its output. So I don't like using it. It's a kind of a hassle to set up every time. So if I can, I will avoid using the FrameMeister. Also, it adds a ton of latency to whatever game I play. So if I want to play something that requires, you know, fast reaction times, good luck. I mean, the Magewell capture card in the PC already incorporates like a couple of tenths of a second of latency, and the Magewell, the FrameMeister adds another couple of tenths of a second. You're looking at almost half a second's worth of latency to whatever I plug into the FrameMeister at this point. And for certain types of games, that's a killer. So I try to avoid using the FrameMeister whenever possible. Which sucks, because that thing was fucking expensive. That thing was £300. Minus import tax. The import tax itself was egregious. At the end of the day, the image quality I get out of just using the SCART to component converter with the Magewell is like only slightly less sharp than the FrameMeister. So whatever, that's good enough. Okay. We have an even orbit of 80,000 meters. Target. Okay, where am I? I'm here. I'm going to set up a rendezvous. So yeah, cut a long story short, I'll be able to get progressive scan capture out of my Saturns. Plural, I have 4 Saturns. No, wait, I have 5 Saturns. Be able to get progressive scan out of those without having to use the FrameMeister. Closest. Just a maneuver node. Just you get about 30 to 32 kilometers above the surface. That seems pretty good for now. Yeah. All right, sweet. Let's adjust. Point at the maneuver node. It's going to need some tweaking before we get there, but leave it for now. "23 minutes. Estimate of 30 seconds burn time to complete the burn. Oh, I've still got over 1,000 meters a second in my second stage. 9 minutes, 8 minutes, 7 minutes, 5 minutes. Okay, readjust. I find the estimated burn is usually slightly off in this game. So let's do it about 40 seconds. That sounds good. Yep. It was slightly off. Not by much though, but it was slightly off. Oh well. Started the burn a little bit late in hindsight, and I've just realised my camera is blocking. There we go. better. Don't follow the meter, just whatever you can. Make adjustments later on. 26 kilometers, that's good enough. Alright. Point straight up relative to the planet to make sure that we always have a solar panel facing the sun, because you find that if you point laterally, despite the incredibly low chance of it, for some reason you almost always end up with a situation where the one side of your rocket that doesn't have a solar panel is the side facing the sun, and you end up running out of electric power, and by the time you notice it's too late and you run out of electric power and you can't maneuver. So that happens way more than I think it should. It's bizarre. Oh right, hang on, I totally forgot. Get rid of that. That's pointless. That just weighs me down. Okay, so what do we got here? We got antenna. Oh yeah, that's another thing that's been incorporated from a mod. The satellite communication mod. That was quite popular for a while. Like, hey, because before it would just be a case of it doesn't matter where your satellites are. They could be a million miles away. They could be behind a massive body. That you could still, you know, they would still move just fine. And people thought that's not really realistic. What about communication networks? There was an entire mod dedicated to designing, launching, and maintaining satellite communication networks, so you could, you know, keep contact and keep control of like far away missions. And that's been incorporated into the game. They incorporated something like that into the game, something really complicated and niche into the game like that, but they still have not added the ability just to look at your thrust to weight ratio. Oh my god. These guys who make this game have decided they're going to try and make a 5-star wedding cake before they've learnt how to make bread pudding. Sure, that's a saying that's lost on most of you. Okay, what else? What about the Elder Scrolls Oblivion playthrough that I was doing? I will be continuing that. You have not seen the last of Cyrodiil, but because I'm being held up at the moment by my post Dreamcast ports series, I'd like to get myself to a comfortable place with that first. I at least want to finish the GameCube videos before going to, you know, going back to Cyrodiil for 5 videos and then returning for the Wii and rest of the PS2 videos. At least that's what I'm hoping to do. For some reason the camera's... Oh, you shit. Oh, whoops. Accidentally alt-tabbed out of that. That's funny. There we go. So, yeah, it's not... And, yeah. I swear, every single time I upload like a video like to that series, someone has to ask me, why this specific version? And I've already gone through. It's because the PC version of Oblivion is fucked. It was made at a time when the overwhelming majority of people did not have multiple displays, and so it just happens to be a weird curiosity with how that game is coded, that it refuses to run on computers that have multiple displays hooked up. And the way I record gameplay requires me to have multiple displays running. I know there is another situation where it's like, oh, you could just have a second PC. Have a second powerful PC running Oblivion, and then plug that powerful PC into the first powerful PC that's capturing the video, and simple. It's like, motherfucker, I live in a flat. I have a limited income, okay? I can't afford to build a second high-end PC. Like, no. Like, people have genuinely told that to me as if that's like the obvious solution. Like, oh, you know, just get a second PC. Blah, 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 blah. It's like, A, I live in a tiny flat. B, I have a limited income. I live comfortably, but not that comfortably, you know. Not so comfortably that I can afford to splash out on a second high-end PC just to record Oblivion, for fuck's sake. 3, I could see people like justifying that if their job is YouTube. My job is not YouTube. I do this for fun. Okay, and I don't really ever intend to do YouTube as a job. I never really wanted to. I've had people approach me in the past. I've had what do you call them? Sponsors? They're like the companies that like take you under their wing and promote your stuff. I don't remember what they're called. I've been approached by multiple them, and I've had to say like, no. They've all sent me the same fucking form letter. It's like, oh yes, we really think your video... They all say exactly the same thing, by the way. They all send you the same fucking form letter saying, oh, we think your videos are great and we want to promote them and we want to help you start your YouTube career. And it's like, motherfucker, no you don't. I can tell you don't, because clearly you get sent the same form letter by YouTube and you just send that out. Like the same, like 5 companies in a row sent me the exact same email with like, you know, like enter company name here filled in. You know what I mean? It's like, if they cared, they would at least customize their letters. They wouldn't just all be using the exact same form letter. Anyway, I'm rambling. What am I doing? I'm supposed to be getting into orbit around the moon here. Okay, you see that big pink line? That indicates the orbit our satellite has to be in. You can also tell by the little highlight going around which way they want us to be going around. So, I've got to position the satellite in as close to that area as possible. So let's try and bring out up, it's directly out. Go to about here. Go about here. Oh, I see all the estimated orbit lines spazzing out there. Here we go. Now we'll add a maneuver. Whoop. Adjust the elevation. Oof. It's going to need some work. There. Close enough. You don't have to get it that accurate. The game will be like, yo, that's fine. As long as you're within a certain margin. Alrighty then. Alright. 1 hour and 29 minutes. While we're waiting, I can tell you what I have been experimenting with lately. Hardcore drugs. No, not really. I've been experimenting with virtual machines. I've been running old OSs within newer OSs. And in one case, a newer OS within an older OS. So I've been thinking lately. There are a lot of old PC games, primarily of the DOS and pre 3D Accelerator era, that do not run well, if at all, on modern operating systems. And there's a ton of games that I still have, by the way, copies of. Some run okay on Windows 7, some run but with major issues, and some don't fucking boot at all. Some of those games despise Windows 7 or later. And so I've been experimenting with virtual machines to see if I can get some of those games running. And I've had some mixed success. About 3 or 4 games in particular have ran pretty fantastically. Another 3 or 4 have run mostly fine, but with some minor sound issues. But a lot of them I'm still having trouble getting to run at all. And I'm presuming that's because it's just, well, virtual machines aren't really designed, they're not really intended to run games, and I'm aware of that, mainly due to how they're programmed. Specifically the 2D and 3D acceleration fronts. It's like they have like generic drivers with generic settings, and it's like a very no frills affair. It's like, yo, you get 256 colours if you're lucky. Some lucky motherfuckers can manage to set up 16-bit colour. Some operating systems are easier to set up than others. As it turns out, the operating system that everyone adores, Windows 98, has so far been the hardest one to get running. Windows 98 is a motherfucker to set up in a virtual machine. Same goes for Windows 95. Windows 95, almost as difficult. Ironically, the easiest and most hassle-free operating system to get running in a virtual machine, Windows ME. Windows ME loves virtual machines, apparently. It is, so far, has been the most just click and it just runs of all the operating systems I've tried. Even Windows 10 gave me more of a fight than Windows ME did, which is surprising, considering the... Oh, hang on. That's the end of that. stage. So yeah. So and Windows 10, ironically, has also had the best compatibility with the games that I've been testing. More games have run on Windows ME than have run on any of the other operating systems. I've been testing everything from Windows 3.1 all the way up to Windows 10. And so far, ME, the hated, despised Windows Millennium Edition, has so far been the most successful at running that stuff on a virtual machine, which I find highly amusing, considering such a horrible reputation that OS has. A reputation which I've never understood, because I used to have Windows ME. I had a Windows ME PC when I was younger, and I never had any problems. It just ran. I must have been one of the 8 people on the planet with Windows ME that didn't encounter any issues. Yeah, I've gotten a handful of games that I want to try and play for this channel running on that. Hang on, let's do some science. Mystery goo, keep. Review data, send it. Yeah, I've been experimenting with 3.1, 95, 98 second edition, 98 plus, 2000, Windows 7, Windows 8, Windows 10. I've got a Windows 10 installation on Windows 7 and it runs fine. Of course, there was the slight weirdness of setting it up, but it's amazing how easy it is to run a virtual machine. I mean, you talk to some people about installing and running operating systems within operating systems and their eyes just glaze over. But no, that shit's really easy. I'm surprised I never tried it before. Oh God, do I have enough electricity? Just enough. Sweet. I've got loads of fuel. Let's just see if we can land this sucker. Got a probe landed on this crater, so let's try and land a probe on this crater. You know what, let's aim for these 2 craters here. Whoop. Alright, let's do the trick. The most fuel efficient way of landing on the moon, at least in this game, is this. Go to the far side of where you want to land. Burn against your orbit until the perigee of your orbit is about 5 kilometers, which helps you avoid any mountain tops. Because that will make sure that when you're on the other side, a lot of the fuel inefficiency comes from having to account for acceleration falling after when you kill your lateral motion. You start generating acceleration towards the planetary body. So in order to limit that, you break you basically cut all your lateral motion as close as possible to the surface so you don't fall that far. So you save as much fuel as possible. The downside is, if you don't know exactly what you're doing, this is fucking terrifying, because you are travelling faster than a speeding bullet this close to the body, and it is a little bit daunting. So you can see rocks down there, we're that close. Alright, let's prepare to hit the brakes. Where are we? Oh no, we're already past it. Hit the burners. Yep. Got it. Alright, so I've adjusted my trajectory to have us land directly into in those twin craters, which is what I wanted. I mean, typically this is not a manoeuvre you would dare do during a real mission, but since this is kind of a throwaway secondary thing I've decided to do, simply because my probe has so much excess fuel. Sure, why not? On a regular landing mission, you wouldn't dare be this frivolous with your fuel supply. You'd be happy to land wherever, man. Alright. Now I'm doing the exact thing I was trying not to do, which is falling an extended distance, which means I'll have to slow down again, which means using more fuel. But in this case it's not such a big deal because I still have tons of it left. So much so that I'm just gonna speed up time here. 3,000, 2,000, there we go. Again, this is not the most efficient landing, but oh well, I've done worse. Oop, oop. Oop, oop. Cancel out my lateral momentum here. Where is my shadow? Lack of a shadow is very upsetting. Okay, here we go. Got the engines, and my reaction wheels will keep me standing up straight, even on a slope in gravity this week. So let's do some science. Mystery goo, twin craters, earn me some science points. Excellent. Temperature. And then pressure. Let's build up some energy first. Okay. Whoop! Whoa! Physics. Uh-oh. Yeah, oh dear. While the physics in this game are a lot better than they used to be a lot more unstable a few years ago. So much so that the community in this game dubbed it the Kraken whenever a random physics bug would destroy a ship. Sometimes it would be like what you saw there, the ship would just hop off the ground and then fall back down, uncontrolled. usually. Sometimes it would be really severe and the ship would just explode. But that stuff happens a lot less frequently these days. The Kraken seems to be finally under control. Mostly. Touch wood. Okay. Pressure data. Transmit. Excellent. Done. Alright. And with that, I'm done with this probe. So let's go back to the Space Center. Before anyone asks, no, this is not alcohol. This is Schlur. That's literally its name, Schlur. I think it's meant to look like wine, but without actually being wine. It's strange. It's the sort of thing you buy when you know there's like going to be like kids going to like a wedding party or something. It's like, okay, all the adults are going to be getting pissed out of their minds at this wedding party, but of course a few of them brought their fucking kids with them. What can we give them? How about we get some Schlur? That way they'll think they're drinking the same drinks, but they're actually not. Alright, what have we got? Oh, we've got 300 points of science and 680,000 Kerbal dollars. In that case, I think we can upgrade our science facility, our research facility. 450,000. That's expensive. Oh my god. But now we've unlocked the next tier of science. What do we got? We got little things. We got more stuff, more connections. Excellent. A crew tube. Supersonic parts, air brakes, extra large landing gear. Extra cabins, modules, space station parts, extra large antennas, extra large panels. I like the panels. The panels are good. Oh, but what would be the most useful? No, not really. This wouldn't. Oh, maybe this. Maybe this. 162,000. Jesus Christ. Mainsail is 38. Bobcat. Oh my goodness. Ooh, let's invest in a couple of engines. Go on, let's be a devil. 6 grand for you. 4.5 grand for you. 4.2 grand for you. Let's do one more. 65 grand for the twin bore. Makes sense, it's one of the most useful parts in this game. At least it was the last time I played. 7 grand for the heavy lift. Werner engines, 3 grand for you. Let's do for the heavy lift SRB. Okay. How much have we got left? 147 points. Just shy of another. Okay. Not a problem. Not a problem. What do we got? Orbital docking. Plant flag on the moon. We can do that one. That's easy. New orbital station. That sounds fun. Start building a space station. How about that? Oh boy. Now, let's work on that orbital docking thing. That seems fun. What do we got in terms of coupling? We've got the small junior. That's still the small. That's still the only one we've got. Okay. Okay. Sub-assemblies. That's the one I want. Okay, so boom. It is a Breeze 4 launcher. Large. Hang on. Heavy. Man and... Sorry, moon. I just did it. I just did the very thing. Heavy moon and minus transfer. Just helps me remember what specific launchers are good at. Get rid of that. Let's try this. I've never used this Mark II. Obviously it's meant to represent the Gemini capsule. It's two-seater design. Ooh, that was dumb. Let's see, what do we do? How about... drogue chute, mount chute. Add 2 mount chutes. Okay. Electric charge, wheel authority. No onboard monopropellant. That's interesting. The Mark I has onboard monopropellant, and the Mark III has onboard monopropellant. Why not the Mark II? Very strange. Very strange. Okay, fine. Let's stick you there. That seems good. Oh, shit. No, just the one, please. Not 2. Alright. Yep. That's too big. Huh. That's pretty good. Yeah. Because this game simulates aerodynamics now. So if you have like a flat edge to something, it's going to cause drag as you try and move through the atmosphere, which will slow you down at best, and at worst cause you to spin violently out of control. So it's best to try and make sure your ship is nice and pointy. That should have a shroud, shouldn't it? That looks strangely... Okay, well, whatever. Not a big deal. There are really no stackable monopropellant solutions here. Liquid fuel, liquid fuel, liquid fuel, liquid fuel, liquid fuel. Because for some reason this specific cockpit lacks monopropellant, so since we're going to be doing rendezvous and docking, we really want that monopropellant. Nope, 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 nope. Great! I guess this is what we've got to work with here. These big old chunky exterior tanks. Great. They don't look hideous at all. Service module. Huh. The service module is too fucking small. It's too big for the top, too small for the bottom. This is too long. Ugh. What else have we got? What else have we got? Service airlock. I'd rather not have to put these, oh Jesus Christ, monopropellant tanks on the outside because they just look so awful like that. Okay, that explains. Okay, there we go. There's the shroud for the heat shield. I guess you can't really hide anything in there. That's not really what it's designed for, is it? Ugh, sigh. Fine, whatever. I'll put the fucking things on the outside. It doesn't really matter, I guess. It'll look hideous, but it doesn't really matter. 345, 345. Poodle engine, 350. Again, that's too big. You're too big. You're just the right size. Look at that. Perfect. You're also just the right size. What's the trade-off here? You have much better atmospheric fuel efficiency, but worse vacuum fuel efficiency. You have better vacuum fuel efficiency, so thrust 5 kilonewtons, 400 kilonewtons. So this is the more powerful engine and the more expensive engine, but it sucks at vacuums, and this likewise sucks in an atmosphere. So this is smaller. Look how diddy that is. It's teeny weeny. Oh well. Right, where's my centre of gravity? There. Smack on in the middle. Nice. I want 2 of these. You know what? I can just put these inside. It doesn't matter. Oh wait, yes it does. It looks terrible. Because then you get these little black things jutting out the edge. Nuts. Oh well. That dream's dead. Oh well. It looks strange, but it'll have to do. I can't imagine that helps the aerodynamics much either. Give me 4 of these. You know what? These are cheaper. They contain... They're smaller, cheaper, and they contain less ridiculous amounts of monopropellant. I'm not going to need that much, honestly. If you're sensible with your monopropellant, you don't need that much. You really don't. I'll just stick the antenna there, it doesn't really matter. Okay, so we have a functional orbital vehicle. Now it's time to work on the launcher. What have we got? Ooh. Torque is on. Okay. Coupling. These are cheaper. At this stage in the game, cheaper is better. Why is that fairing so massive for that engine? Oh god. Okay. I need more tanks. Nope, you're too big. Nope. Have to be a bunch of you, won't it? You know what? You're fine. You'll go on, and then... Nope. And then you'll go on. Not nearly enough thrust. It's too small. What else we got? Still can't believe they want 38 grand for the mainsail. What? Even the skipper's not. 1.92. That's not so bad. You're too small. 1.12 again, getting better, but. Is this going to be a skipper job? This might be a skipper job. Yeah, 0.9. This looks like it's going to have to be a skipper. Alright. I want some little bit more fuel first. Oof. Large fuel engines are expensive beasts. They put up your cost significantly. Okay. What do we got? Wow, that's huge. That booster is almost as big as the rocket itself. Okay. These guys, They're still a little bit big. These guys. These guys. These guys. It's gotta be these again. Huh. Fine. Let it be. There. Who reckons we're gonna need 4 of them? I do. Okay. Oh, God damn it. There we go. Alright, what are we looking at? We're looking at... You want to keep the thruster-weight ratio somewhere between 1.6 and 1.8, so... a lower thruster weight ratio, you're not pushing hard enough and you're wasting fuel. A thruster weight ratio any higher than that and you're pushing too hard against the atmosphere and you're wasting fuel. So you want to keep it about 1.7-ish for a near enough optimum ascent. Jesus Christ. There we go, 1.72. That gives us what, roughly just under 3 minutes of burn time. Yeah, just under 3 minutes of burn time, which is plenty. I want to make sure the tops of these SRBs are aerodynamic. 150. Ugh. Sure my SRBs are fixed. Good, excellent. Maybe add a fin or two just for a little bit of stability. Just some small ones, nothing massive. Even some small fins can go a long way. It's called this. These 5. Not a heavy. Orbiter. Series 5 Orbiter. It's always good to give it a logical name, something that lets you understand immediately what it is you've made whenever you look for it in the menu system again. And this is quite a heavy one, so it's going to want some support. No more than 2. There we go. Alright. Alright, sweet. How much was this to put together? 30 grand. Okay, I was expecting it to be a little bit more, but, you know, 30 grand. It's a nice chunk of change. I mean, 60 technically. We need to put 2 of these motherfuckers up there. Alright, now... Be help if I could see the goddamn... Oh, that's a potential disaster right there. The number of people who accidentally don't group their their launch tower releases with their starting engines. It happens a lot. You hit go and all it does is release your rocket and it falls to the ground and explodes. So you always want to make sure your stability enhancers, as they're called here, are in the same group as your starting rockets. So alright, I think I've got the ratios all correct. Don't start turning till you reach 100 meters a second. Okay. So the turn rate differs for every type of rocket. Smaller, lighter, faster rockets have a sharper turn rate. Slower, heavier, lumbering rockets have a slower turn rate. It's something you really got to get a feel for as you go. You want to tend to reach the 45-degree mark by the time your apoapsis is around 32,000. That's just the average I've come up with. I've decided feels right for me. I'm probably not going to get there. I'm turning way too slowly. But it's okay. Turning a bit late is much better than turning a bit early. Trust me. If you turn too late, it just means you waste a bit of fuel getting into an orbit. If you turn too early, you waste a lot of fuel getting into an orbit and potentially don't make it into orbit at all. Alright, so now checking my apoapsis height in the top left corner there. I want it to be no higher than 80 kilometers. Whoop. This is a big, heavy, lumbering rocket. It's going down at the moment, but it will climb again, don't worry. So we want to keep our apoapsis at around 80,000 meters while slowly increasing our perigee. Whoop! Uh-oh. Bring our apogee down a bit, back down to 80,000. Alright, we're in space. The edge of space in this game is 70 kilometers. So that's your safety point. Oh shit, did I forget to put any solar panels on the rocket? I did, didn't I? I have no means of generating power, except for my engines. That's embarrassing. Oh well. Just idling in space, however, does not use up electricity. At least in manned ships it doesn't. Manned vessels. Mostly. Which is 80,000. I'll bring my perigee up to 32. And then get rid of this second stage. Okay. Still got fuel in it, but it's better to get rid of it now than later. That will let it burn up in the atmosphere. Anything that drops below 35,000 kilometers into the atmosphere that you're not focused on will be automatically deleted, so you don't have to worry about focusing on each individual piece of debris and then, you know, writing it down, because that would be incredibly tedious. The game just assumes if a piece of if a ship or an orbiting object drops below a certain point into an atmosphere, it's just lost. And unless, of course, you're actually focused on it at that time, then it simulates its journey all the way down with you. But yeah, don't need to do that. And while we're here, we can rename the vessel. I have absolutely no imagination, so let's just call it Gemini 1. Because I cannot come up with my own names. Whoop. Decouple the nose. I'm going to need that to go away. Alright. Space Center. Before we launch the second one, let's add some means of actually generating electricity to these things, eh? That might be a good idea. Some solar panels. Alright. Okay, let's get the second one up there. First of all, let's get Gemini 1 into a prime position. Turn off debris. I want it to be about here. About 45 degrees away from where we are. There. That's about good. Alright. Whoop, fuck. Hey, you know that mistake I mentioned that people do? When I was launching the first one of these, I just did it. What a bell end. What a bell end I am. Try and be a bit more aggressive with my turning this time. I was a bit too conservative the last time, so it ended up having a bit of a slow turn. Where's my... Where's my Kerbal engineer? Not working. Oh shit, really? Crap, that means I have to launch from the map view. Which is a bad way to do it, because if you're launching from the map... What was that? That was just the engines hitting each other. Yep. You can't tell when your stages run out of fuel, which is bad. Okay. Just push it. Okay. That'll have to do for now. Wow, it's a bit much more sedate ascent than the first one. Whoop. Okay. Okay. Ditch that shit. Bring this guy up to standard. Set Gemini 1 as a target. Excellent. Man, we're 0.6 degrees off in terms of angle, so I'm going to want to fix that. First of all, a lot of people who play this game have severe difficulties with Rendezvous. And it's really not as difficult as it first seems. You just need to remember three things. Match altitude, match angle, and then work your way in slowly. Just people try and do it all in one maneuver. Like, no, we can only do it in one maneuver. It has to all be done in one maneuver, and as a result it tends to fail. Like no, even if it takes you 20 orbits, even if it takes you 30 orbits, just work your way in slow, make small adjustments. It's like there's no reason to try and do everything in a single pass in order to try and rush the in order to try and rush the rendezvous. It's pointless. even real life rendezvous, you know, can take days of gradual adjustment. Sometimes it would take the space shuttle, when it was still going, sometimes it would take it almost a week to rendezvous with the International Space Station. You know, it's like, even the professionals, the people who do it for real, don't rush that shit and try and do it all in one pass, you know. Alright, so we've got our angle nailed down. So now, see, it's behind us, so we want it to catch up with us. The best way to get it to catch up with us is for us to slow down. And when you're in orbit, you speed up to slow down. That sounds strange, I know, but that's how it actually works. Because what you do, when you increase speed, it pushes the other side of your orbit out, and the further you are away from the planet when orbiting, the slower you go. So even though you're travelling faster than your target here, when you push your orbit out, you'll be travelling much slower on the other side, to the point where your target catches up quite easily, even though you'll be faster at a certain point. So I'm going to go there. You, point at prograde. And we can use these markers. These markers will slowly come together. We want to get that number as low as possible, that separation number. I can get it down to a couple of kilometers normally, sometimes closer. It's just like that. 0.1 kilometer separation. That's good enough for me. Alright. Rename vessel. Whoop. Gemo. Gemini 2. Why not? Turn our cockpit lights on. Whoops. What's it look like inside the cockpit? Pretty cramped. I haven't seen the inside of this cockpit yet. This is new. The insides of these cockpits, by the way, are working. That's a real attitude ball. That thing works. It's the same display here. See, that thing adjusts itself as I turn the ship. Same goes for our heading, atmosphere, atmospheric pressure gauge, altitude, speed dial. It all works, but not all of it. These switches you can't actually do anything with. So, I mean, it's not practical, but it's totally possible to do an entire mission from inside the cockpit view. I don't recommend it, but it's possible. Alright, let's speed up time. Where is he? Should be visible by now, surely. Is that him? Oh wait, here he is. Yeah, there we go. There's Gemini 1, slowly approaching. 40 kilometers away. $25. 20. 15. Remember, our closest intersection point is 0.1 kilometers, so we will be within 200 meters. Because it always rounds it down to the nearest 100 meters. It doesn't round it up, it rounds it down. Less than 2 kilometers now, it's time to start. Maybe slowing down a bit. Okay. Alright, time to use RCS. Whoop. Extremely wasteful. Get the green circle on the attitude ball, on the pink dot on the attitude ball. I'm going to slow down a bit. Oh my goodness. Wow, we're almost half out of monopropellant already. I am being extremely wasteful. Whoop! Impact! That was dumb. Yeah, how about we just kind of just leave the rest of this to the other ship. How about that? Let's have at least have them facing the right way up first. There we go. Okay. Set as target. Alright. Docking alignment indicator. I don't really need it, but it looks cool, and it's an interesting thing for people to look at while I do this. Again, another thing in this game that a lot of people find difficult. The docking. You just back away. Whoop. Okay, line it up. Okay. Adjust. Get the crosshairs lined up. And then drive it home. Bonk. Just like that. and just like that, we have docked 2 spaceships. Docking maneuver. It's like a vessel handshake with minimal shaking and no hands. Alright. Got a nice little cash bonus. Unfortunately, this doesn't count for our new orbital station because we do not have a facility supporting 5 astronauts, so oh, but while we're here we can totally do the transmit or recover scientific data. Crew report, keep. Crew report, keep. Alright, sweet. Undock. Just like that. Okay, let's bring them home. Let's bring them home. So there's the space center there. It's usually, I find the best point to do a re-entry from when you're over the desert. So we want to point retrograde. Slow our orbit down. I've installed a mod, by the way, which gives me a nice estimate trajectory of my trip through an atmosphere. Because without this, you have no fuck. You only have a rough idea where you're going to land. This thing lets you see your rough trajectory, also rough estimate of your landing point as well, which is super handy. I want to get that red cross as close as possible. Okay. There we go. Of course, now I have no way of actually controlling my descent. And would you believe it, my landing spot has changed. That tiny little bit of adjustment due to the decoupling has changed my landing position by a few degrees. That's annoying. But anyway, that's how you expect it. Anyway. That's our rough estimate of where our landing area is going to be. It's usually within a couple of 100 meters of where we actually land, so it's pretty accurate. Don't need the SAS. Aerodynamics will hold us in our current position. We don't have to worry about that. That's pretty accurate. We're only in the... It was in the grasslands, a couple of miles away from the launch centre. That's pretty close, I'll take that. Slow down. When we're about 8,000 metres above the surface, I will hit the parachutes. This command pod is quite a bit larger and therefore quite a bit heavier than the standard single-seater command pod I've been using so far. So hopefully these 2 parachutes will be enough to break its fall. It should be. 2 parachutes should be plenty. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Yeah, look at that. Absolutely fine. Speed up time a little bit. $300 meters, 250, 200, 150, 100, 50, 20, 15, 10, and contact. Recover. Successful mission. Alright, Bill leveled up, so we can bring home the second ship. They're in a less than great position at the moment, so... Oh, and we retrieve data from space, so that's another mission completed. Man, we're just banging these out today, huh? Oh, yes, that's right. That's another thing that this the game has added, has been added to the main game since I last played, was the addition of multiple launch sites, which originally, again, was a mod that people made. Like, hey, what if we have more than just one launch site on the home planet? There are reasons why you might want such a thing. And that it indeed is something they added. So now you can launch from 3 different locations, and I will not be surprised if they end up adding more at some point. Okay, we are over the desert. We are low on monopropellant, but have plenty of electric charge. Okay. Hit the brakes. Okay. Let's try... pointing south. See if we can focus some of this decoupling energy into a lateral direction. Why is... There we go. What has that done? Oh no, it's fine. Let's put me... Again, roughly the same spot as the first ship. Okay. Anyway. Let's bring these fuckers home. Whoop. This has been an incredibly successful mission. Well, shouldn't say anything just yet. Something could go wrong at the last minute and I could end up with 2 dead astronauts. I have permadeath turned on, so when astronauts die they don't respawn. And since they added the ability to level up your astronauts and give them extra abilities, losing an astronaut has suddenly become not frivolous. It's just like, normally you used to lose a Kerbal and you're like, yeah, whatever, there's 1,000 more where they came from. But now, like, if you have a particularly leveled up astronaut, it sucks, because you're like, oh man, all that work you put in and they're just gone. They're just gone now. You kind of want to keep them alive now. You can actually turn off this. You can actually look inside and see them inside. That's pretty neat, I like that. What broke? Something broke. Something went psh, and I don't know what it was. Was it a piece of debris hitting the ground nearby? That's always the risk of putting up the speed when you're in an atmosphere that has a tendency to cause the game physics to go a bit haywire sometimes. But it should be fine. There we go. They got back alive. And because we landed the ship so close to the Space Center, we get a salvage bonus. Bob also leveled up. All my crew members are now level 1. We can purchase another one of these. What should we get? Some Werner engines, some monopropellant engines, RCS fuel tank, cargo container, fuel tank, jumbo fuel tank. Crew tube. Don't really like the plane stuff in this game. Never have. I've never been able to get a hang of the space plane stuff. Getting a like functional, fully working space plane in this game has always seemed like witchcraft to me. It's such a pain in the arse to get working. that at a certain point I just kind of give up. Volleyball inflatable habitation module. Porthole observation window. Let's get some docking ports. Some proper docking ports. Maybe start thinking about building a space station. How about that? What do we got? Payload bay, protective fairing, radio decoupler, nose cone type B. Interesting. Alright. I think that's enough of me rambling. This has been... I think this has gone on for quite enough. Again, this video is not really a sign of things to come. It's more just a... Hey, how about I actually get something out? Because it's, you know, it's been a couple weeks. And... I am still working on the Dreamcast ports videos. It's just like I said, I'm waiting for things to arrive. All the games have arrived. It's just the peripherals that go with them that I'm waiting for. Got one left. Once that arrives, I shall. Whoop! I went straight past. Once that arrives, you shall see the return of post-Dreamcast ports. Estimate on that is, well, delivery on that peripheral I mentioned, estimates about the 22nd, 23rd of August, so... Oh well. These things happen. These delays, they happen. But anyway, that is enough from me. I'm the Real Blue Dragon. This is Kerbal Space Program. And thank you, and goodbye.